Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic. Anthony Bourdain once said, there's a guy in my head, and all he wants to do is lay in bed all day long, smoke pot, and watch old movies and cartoons. My life is a series of stratagems, to avoid, and outwit that guy. Who is that guy for you, and what do you do to avoid him? We came to an agreement and take turns occupying the same body. It's me from 5:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays. And he gets evenings, weekends and holidays. Fair compromise as long as it stays like that, I say. I've been trying to negotiate some extra time in the evenings for working out and / or hobbies, but he says it will cut into his 4-hour gaming sessions. I've got the same arrangement. My guy has left me with a hell of a hangover to deal with this morning. Is this Black Mirror? I swear I've seen this situation before. I used to have a little sign on my desk that said the worst possible feeling is when the person you are meets the person you could have been. It was there to encourage to pursue my goals rather than procrastinate on games, Reddit, etc. I think it's time I dug that sign out again. Ouch. Worse than that Ben Franklin quote, a man can die at 25 and not be buried until he's 75. Man, funeral companies were hella inefficient back then. I think this fucked me up as much as retirement is a monetary number, not an age. Not really in the spirit of the thread, but money doesn't buy happiness, it buys freedom has always bothered me. It's true, and if you think about it, it's seriously fucked on multiple levels. That guy's kicking my ass right now. You gotta fight back, man. He's a lazy stoner, he can't be that good of a fighter. This was somehow insanely philosophical to me. That guy's cousin lives in my head, I go to AA meetings to avoid and outwit him. Serenity, brother. Is there such a thing as Mary Jane AA meetings? I've never gotten more replies to a simple comment. Gotcha, there's Mar and R/leaves. All that guy wants to do is do Reddit and play video games. I don't do anything to avoid him. Of course I know him, he's me. I have the same guy, except he also loves beer and good weed. I used to not care, but after moving out and a year spent with my own vices, I am starting to seriously burn out. I would say everyone needs a time to indulge to the point they can't handle it anymore. Now I drink less than I have since I can remember and work out more than I ever had. I'd also like to recommend, in general and when the feeling of needing that vice kicks in, just sitting or lying down and just focusing on your breathing. Let all your thoughts and feelings happen around it, but let your focus be breathing in and out. I think most people would be surprised how much it helps. For me, it's like I need those vices to distract me or make me feel good, or even just as something to do cause I feel bored. But lately I've been just simply practicing breathing, and I've realized how much those vices were just serving to compact those feelings tighter into me instead of lifting them off me. Just letting me brain even attempt to return to a state of calm has let other thoughts become much more prevalent than just serving the part of my mind that wants enjoyment. I guess I'm just describing meditation, but when you say meditation, some people take it as this complex practice of yoga and mantras and stuff, but I just want to promote the importance of rhythmic breathing. Might get buried, but my dude in my head is literally Mr. Spock from Star Trek, and I don't avoid him. Hear me out. I discovered through therapy that I needed a mechanism for judgmentless and objective self-analysis, and Mr. Spock is that dude. He can see the most fucked up space shit ever and react calmly and objectively. Mr. Spock, the massive space blob, has a 97.454% chance of consuming the ship and everyone inside within 4/7 minutes. Projections show it will be slow and painful. Kirk, that's horrible. Spock, yes, it is not ideal for our continued survival, but its actions are entirely within the nature of the space blob. So, whenever I get spun up on something in my head, I imagine a mini Spock in my head with a science terminal that can pull all data about me. Me, Spock, science report. Spock, data shows that Godspeed Metal is 5.8 days from quitting smoking tobacco and is under great mental distress from the change of chemical intake. He isn't consciously aware of it, but he's attempting to make up an excuse to get gas on a half tank in order to create an opportunity to buy a pack of cigarettes. Me, thank you, Spock, sounds like I'm being dishonest with myself. I suck. Spock, I disagree. It's entirely within the nature of a nicotine addict to seek out a source of nicotine intake. This is neither good or bad. Just natural. Data also suggests that conscious awareness mitigates the chances of nicotine intake by 89.45%. You've yet to procure a nicotine source as well. Commendable. Just going through that mental exercise will help knock me out of a mental spun-up state, help sort out emotions, feelings, all that stuff, into a paused, objective, and most importantly, non-judgmental way. This is the best self-care strategy I've ever heard of. Spock care. Bold of you to assume I avoid him. My whole life is a series of stratagems to enable that guy to spend as much time in bed watching cartoons as he can without ending up homeless or unable to pay for weed. Excuse me, but I am you. I have the exact same guy in my head. I quit smoking pot years ago, before I hit 30. I can still stay in bed all day on some days. What keeps me from doing it? Having a 24H lay-in on my laptop. Too often are commitments I've made to myself, friends, and employers. Back in the day, pot made it really easy to give up on those commitments. I miss pot, but I don't miss those times in general, which keeps me from going back. Precisely, you've said it very well. For me at least, getting high just made me very content with doing absolutely nothing. Which is fine sometimes, but I was high all the time and then doing nothing, all the time. I was so bored and boring to myself that I had to quit smoking and other drugs completely. It's only been a few years. It still feels like a work in progress, but I'm getting happier with who I am. I like Randy Marsh's quote about it from South Park. Well, Stan, the truth is marijuana probably isn't gonna make you kill people, and it most likely isn't gonna fund terrorism, but well, son, pot makes you feel fine with being bored. And it's when you're bored that you should be learning some new skill or discovering some new science or being creative. If you smoke pot, you may grow up to find out that you aren't good at anything. The guy who wants to go streaking during the Super Bowl halftime show. I avoid him by remembering that prison is not a pleasant place to be. You'll only go to prison if you get caught. Wait, wrong comments section. If you ever decide to do it, just be fully nude. Then you'll be arrested and have to register as a sex offender. Noted, I'll wear socks. I have chronic severe depression, going 25 years now. It's not completely clear what I have, but it comes and goes, not sad, not bipolar, not MDD, we simply don't know, and medication doesn't work. However, it's never really gone, it's more like manageable or unmanageable. The voice is either telling me I should lie down and just give up, or it's telling me that soon I will be lying down and giving up again. My manageable moments are obviously filled with as much joy as I can pack in there, and every night before going to bed I tell the voice to suck it. Today was my day, not yours. When it's unmanageable and the voice tells me to give up, I try to fight him as long as I can, and when I start to agree with him I always manage to end it with "but not today." It's kept me alive for this long, I hope I can keep going like this for a while. I have always tended toward anxiety and panic attacks rather than depression, but I do understand what you describe here. The real me wants to make a huge buffet, host a fancy dress party for all my friends, and then write that drama I've got an idea for, but anxiety can just punch me in the stomach and pin me down and yell at me to stop it, to stop doing anything because I'm ugly, deformed, stupid and unoriginal, and nobody will hang out with me anyway, and I have to hide under the duvet shaking until I can function again. It's horrible how our own mind can play these cruel games with us. I always remind myself that it really doesn't matter. In the end everyone dies, and in the end the solar system will blow up and the memory of us will be gone. Who cares if today I make a mistake and people see it? We all try and fail. We also try and succeed. I have a tattoo that says focus on the positive, that's what I try to do as much as possible. Holy shit, Anthony said that. Damn. I miss him even more. Source, https://www.messjowrl.com/features. Look, I understand that inside me there is a greedy, gluttonous, lazy, hippie, you know. I understand that free time is probably my enemy. That if I'm given too much free time to contemplate the mysteries of the universe, I'm afraid of that inner hippie emerging. There's a guy inside me who wants to lay in bed, and smoke weed all day, and watch cartoons, and old movies. I could easily do that. My whole life is a series of stratagems to avoid, and outwit, that guy. I make sure I commit to projects based on, will they be interesting? I like to keep momentum going. I'm aware of my appetites, and I don't let them take charge. It goes back to heroin. If heroin, or delicious food, is the number one thing on the to-do list every day, there probably won't be a number two thing on your things to-do list. You know. He knew that at himself, which shows incredible insight. He also killed himself, showing that knowing oneself isn't the end solution to fixing yourself. That guy is my ADHD. I probably have an extreme case where my meds, which are at high doses, hardly even work anymore. The best way I combat this urge to do something fun, play games, or goof off is to remove myself from any place of temptation. Cut it off before you get the thought of even doing something pleasurable. What I do is that I find empty classrooms at my college and study or do work in there. I will purposefully drive away from my home, which is full of games, food, fun, and comfort, to a classroom just so I don't get the urge, and even if I do, I've created a barrier that takes too much guilt and effort of driving back and doing something fun. This got me through college. I just went in the morning and never ever came home until my work was done, late afternoon / early evening mostly. Being stuck on campus all day, even if I wasn't super productive, the work would get done because what else is there to do? Basically the plan was to dick off so much that doing my actual work was a welcome change of pace. At home I can dick off indefinitely without getting tired of it, and better yet I didn't have to feel too bad about dicking off at home because I never had any school work to do there. Yeah, I just stay at the school if I think I'll come home and fuck off.